What's going on, YouTube? So as you probably noticed, over the last 5 years or so, the Korean automakers have really been putting out some slam dunk products. And a lot of products that really surprise people. Two of the most surprising are these sports sedans we have with us today, the Genesis G70 and the Kia Stinger. These were both designed to take on the German automakers head-to-head, and for the 2022 model year, they have been extensively updated to make them stronger competitors than ever before. But which of these two is the best alternative to the status quo? Let's go ahead and find out. Okay, so let's start out with the pricing and equipment levels of these two real fast. Starting with the Stinger, the updated model remains several $1,000s cheaper than the German rivals, even when fully loaded like this. Our GT2 with all-wheel drive and optional paint is $55,955 after destination. Now for the Genesis, surprisingly, its top model actually costs less than the Kia since prices have fallen this year. With a few extras and destination added onto its Sport Prestige trim, the final price rings in at just a hair under $54,000. This does place a $2,010 difference between these two, which is something we will evaluate in the value section at the end of the video. But getting started with the meat and potatoes of this video, let's dig into the exteriors. Both have really nice and aggressive designs that do a great job of looking athletic, but obviously they go about it in very different ways. The G70 adopts the latest Genesis design language, with a new grille and very distinct split LED headlights. The Stinger's design changes less from last year, but it still has some small updates to the fascia, badging, and full LED headlights. Neither of them have fog lamps. Now moving to the sides, one of the things you'll notice is the fact that even though they share a common platform, they are not exactly the same size. The Stinger is actually about 6 inches longer, which puts it outside of the segment norm. And in addition to that, the Stinger also has a sportback design in the rear instead of a traditional trunk. We'll see the benefits of that later in the video, but as far as scoreable features in the rear, the only little detail is that the G70 has full LED lighting, while the Stinger doesn't have LED reverse lights. Other than that, both have nice designs with large exhaust tips. And then finishing off the designs, you'll find 19-inch contrast alloys on both of them. Now heading on to some of the other features, both of them have power folding, auto-dimming mirrors with blind spot monitoring. And both of them also come standard with the full gauntlet of safety systems, including automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, and auto high beam headlights. Finally, when it comes to warranties, both have super long basic warranties of 5 years 60,000 miles and powertrain warranties of 10 years and 100,000 miles. However, Genesis also throws in 3 years of complimentary maintenance with pickup and delivery service. Well, that's it for the exteriors. So now let's check out all the luxury on the interiors before we take them out on the road for a test drive. So walking up to the vehicles, both have smart entry with remote start on the fob, and the mirrors fold out as you approach them. Only the G70 though has the digital key system that allows you to unlock with an Android smartphone, as well as an unlock sensor behind the door handle. But anyway, once we actually reach the interiors, they have very nice and upscale designs that look nothing alike even when ignoring the color differences. The seats themselves both have tons of adjustments, adding up to 16 ways, including the power bolsters. And then they both also are finished in Nappa leather, have memory, heating, and ventilation. Once inside, we can talk about the cabin materials as a whole. Both of them use a luxurious selection, with soft touch upper dashboards, leatherette covering the middle areas, and real aluminum accents sprinkled throughout the center console and door trims. After starting them up, you'll find a traditional gauge setup in the Stinger and a half digital one in the G70. While at first glance, the G70 setup seems more impressive, it actually has the same features, including the really cool blind spot camera system. Additionally, both have head-up displays. And coming back to the steering wheels, both have sport design leather-wrapped wheels with power adjustment. Okay, so next up, let's dig into the major area of interior storage. Not surprisingly, the larger Kia does have the advantage here, with a larger center console and some extra cubby space. Both of them have wireless phone chargers, electronic shifters, and paddles. When in reverse, both also have identical 360-degree camera systems with great resolution. And then for the climate controls, again they both have dual-zone automatic setups, and they both also have 15-speaker audio systems, which we will sample now. Overall sound qualities are excellent and pretty equal, which is not surprising since the systems come from the same parent company. And now that takes us to the infotainment systems, where the similarities continue since they both use the same upgraded 10.25-inch display this year. Besides for small graphic differences, the software is exactly the same, including the built-in navigation and wired Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Finally, the last things to mention up front are the auto-dimming mirrors and large sunroofs. Now moving to the rear areas, this is where things start to get interesting. Like we already mentioned, the Kia is larger, but as far as actual leg and headroom measurements, there is still less than a 5% difference between them to score a point. Once in the back, both offer the amenity of air vents and heated rear seats, but the Stinger has a 12-volt outlet in addition to the one USB port. Now even though the rear seats are pretty close to each other, the same cannot be said for the cargo areas. Both have smart opening trunks, and once they open up, you'll find more than double the cargo capacity of the G70 in the Stinger, thanks to its hatchback design. This definitely makes it more versatile for hauling around large objects. Alrighty, that's it for the interiors. So now let's take this tight race out on the road to see who will come out on top. So visually speaking, these two look very distinct from each other, but a lot of similarities lurk under the areas that you cannot see. The main one is the shared powertrain, both using a 3.3-liter twin-turbo V6 engine, making nearly 370 horsepower. They both also have 8-speed automatics and all-wheel drive, which has the expected result of making them both accelerate to 60 very briskly. Dang.
It's fast.
Just like that, we were at, well, about 75 miles an hour actually. Well above 60, so really quick. Obviously, we've got the upgraded engine. So we've got the 3.3 twin turbo V6 engine. It is going to be the same as last year, so you're making really nice power numbers. 365 horsepower, 376 pound-feet of torque, and this thing moves quite quickly. Just like that, we are up to 60 miles per hour. Really nice acceleration. Of course, this has always had a powerful engine, and for 2022, we gained 3 horsepower.
Yep.
So we still have the 3.3-liter twin-turbo V6 engine. We now have 368 horsepower, 376 pound-feet of torque.
She pulls for sure,
It
yeah.
pulls hard.
Yeah, and that's good for a 0 to 60 of 4.7 seconds. So it certainly is a quick vehicle, to say the least, in the GT trim levels.
Now, as far as driving dynamics, since they share a fundamentally common platform, handling and driving dynamics do feel very similar. But that's not to say identical, because Genesis has tuned the G70 to feel extremely nimble and lightweight, which is great on a back road, but sometimes makes it feel a bit overly excited in normal driving. Yeah, as we turn through some of these corners here, you can see just how tight the body stays. Really very limited body roll, great control with the suspension, and the steering also has a nice and accurate feel. It gets heavier as you go faster and go into the sport mode. Like I said, this really does its job very well of being a luxury sports sedan. The Stinger also has an agile feel to it, but with a bit more heft and sturdiness, which we slightly prefer overall. Yeah, but this really, when you get it out onto a curvy road, this is where she really shines. And you can just tell, looking at me driving through here, just how much control you have. This is a genuine sports sedan, for sure. When you go around the corners, really tight, really buttoned down. You don't have much body roll at all, and the steering has a real hefty feel to it. You can really tell where the wheels are placed. Yeah, it just it feels right when you're behind the wheel. I've always been impressed by this Stinger, and for 2022, you have all the same strong characteristics maintained. The steering setups are both lightning fast, and they both have very compliant rides. But as luxury vehicles, in addition to sports sedans, they also need to be quiet, and both deliver very similar decibel readings at 55 miles per hour.
Now, before we get off of this road right here, I will get a sound level reading because this is a perfect opportunity. Get it in comfort mode. And we're looking at 56.9. And we're going to be sitting at 55.1 decibels. That's very, very good, on par with luxury vehicles.
Finally, as far as fuel economy, they are rated identically at 20 mpg combined. Never fear, we did not forget about the price difference that we mentioned at the beginning of $2,010. Now, based on our scale that takes into account the percentage of MSRP, we will award the G70 a half point per $1,000 of difference, or 1 total point. So there you have it. These two Korean luxury sports sedans finish neck and neck. While they are common in many ways, they both have very distinct personalities that appeal to different kinds of people. At the end of the day, this one is going to come down to personal preference on style and features. So let us know in the comments which way you'd go. Anyways, thanks for joining us for another Car Confections comparison. And be sure to subscribe for more comparisons and our signature full review videos. We appreciate your support, and we will see you next time.